Hello, welcome back. My name is Ari. I am sorry about this video going up late. The people who mow my lawn apparently cut my fiber cable the last time they mowed, so my internet's been out and I'm waiting for AT&T to come fix it before I can upload this video. So it's a little late. That's alright. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the arcs that I read this month. 4 of them, and not the arcs that I'm going to read this month. I've already read them. So instead of doing my normal vlog style video where I like introduce the arcs and then come back later and talk about them, I've already read all of them. I'm just going to talk about them as I introduce them. The first book we're going to talk about is In the Coils of the Labyrinth by David Annandale. This is an Arkham horror novel, and these books I literally read for the covers. I love the Arkham horror covers. The stories themselves are okay, but never really great. Now, Arkham horror is the Cthulhu mythos, and this is based off of a board game that goes by the same name, Arkham Horror. This is set in the 1920s in the town of Arkham, which is very similar to Salem, Massachusetts. So the town of Arkham is kind of cursed. It's got like evil magic, some ley lines, some shady people doing some shady evil shit trying to summon the old gods. So these books follow various different persons who are the good. They're trying to prevent the rise of the old gods, whether they really know it or not. This one takes place in a sanatorium, a tuberculosis sanatorium, which is automatically a setting that I love. And our main character has tuberculosis and she's kind of trying to heal from it. But the sanatorium that she's in is a little evil. It's not evil in the way you normally see, where like patients are being treated like shit and it's super scary that way. That's not what we're getting. This is like, it's scary in the size of it doesn't really match what we're actually seeing, right? So the inside's different shaped than the outside. It's a labyrinth, maybe? It was my favorite Arkham horror so far. I think it had a lot to do with the setting. I also appreciate that the Arkham horror books have a very diverse cast always, when H.P. Lovecraft was such a racist. So he would be turning in his grave, and that just kind of makes me happy. Next up is the Dao of Drizzt by R.A. Salvatore. Now, this isn't really a new Drizzt book. The dog's doing weird things. Please ignore the noises. When you read a Drizzt book, there are like journal entries from him that like, at least at the start of the book, sometimes peppered throughout the book, but it's like a reflection on his life and his goals and everything like that. This book, The Dao of Drizzt, takes every single one of those from every single book that R.A. Salvatore has written that has one of these chapters in it and puts them all together in one book. This one's kind of weird because it's like, you've already read these. If you've read the Drizzt books, you've already read these. If you haven't read the Drizzt books, they're spoilers. Because people die and then come back to life a lot in the books, so you get those spoilers. They're also like, they're not meant to all be in the same book, so they're very repetitive, where across different series he'll repeat something that he said before in a previous book, and if you're like 6 books separated, it doesn't feel repetitive, but if you're just a couple of pages separated, it does. So I don't know with this one. If you're like a really big Drizzt fan and you want to live your life kind of how he does and like want to follow his beliefs and stuff like that, then this is probably the book for you. If you're not that person, I don't know that this is really for you. So it was fine. If you have started the Way of the Drow, which is R.A. Salvatore's newest series featuring Drizzt gang. There's only 2 books out so far, but I will tell you that the chapters, like the journal entries from book 3 are in the Dao of Drizzt. So that kind of spoils a book that doesn't even come out until next year. It doesn't really spoil anything, but it could potentially spoil things from a book that doesn't come out until next year. So just a little heads up about that if you're keeping up with the story and don't want those spoilers. Alright, the third book that I have read, this was actually the first book that I read, but it's the third book I'm covering, and that is the Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. If you're watching this video, you're probably watching it for that, which is why I put this third, so you kind of watched a little bit more of my video. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Anyway, this is a young adult book based off of Latin American mythology, and the characters are all children of gods in that Latin American mythos. The sun god Sol is using their powers to like keep the obsidian gods up in the stars, and it needs to be like replenished, I guess, every so many years. I don't even remember how many years it was. And so the Sunbearer Trials are held, where the children of gods compete in these trials, and the winner sacrifices the person who comes in last place. And so it's an honor to both win and to be sacrificed. There are different tiers of gods. You have gold, jade, and obsidian. So obsidian, these guys don't really count. They're all trapped up in the heavens. Golds have like actual superpowers like moving water, fire, things like that. Jades are kind of like children of gods, but they're mostly normal teens. So jades don't usually get selected for the Sunbearer Trials, but this year 2 jades are selected, including our main character. So you've got like a little bit of the Hunger Games, but done better. And then you've got a little bit of like Percy Jackson, but not necessarily done better. Percy Jackson's done really well, but this is different pantheon, right? So if you like those 2, you'll probably like this one. Plus it's queer, it's diverse, it's kind of fantastic. I definitely recommend reading this book by Aiden Thomas. Now, the last book that I read was Lucky Girl by M. Rickert. I don't even know how to explain this. This is supposedly a Krampus story, but it's just weird. It's like these people meet each other in like a cafe, like a roadside cafe, truck stop cafe type place right before Christmas. All realize that they don't have anything to do to Christmas, so they like get together and share Christmas together. It's like 5 people, and then they're not really friends, but they do that again the next year, and then they do it again like years later, and like there's these huge jumps in time between these events, and like the way the writing's done is like there's no details. It just kind of like quickly blows through the story and like these people's lives without really giving you any information, and you're just getting like unnecessary little like clips of their life. So you'll get like what they did on Christmas Day. You don't really get a whole lot about how they met or like why they chose to do this, anything like that. I didn't like this. I didn't think it worked as a Christmas story. I didn't think it worked as a Halloween story. I didn't think the writing was very good. It was just like one of your friends being like, yo, this weird shit happened, dude, but it's a book. So yeah, I don't know what else to really say about this or who to recommend it to, because the writing was just not for me, and I don't really know the type of person to like this writing. So this one's the loss for the month. That's all I got about that. Those are the 4 books I read this month. Let me know down in the comments below, are you interested in reading any of these books before or after I talked about it? And if you don't have a comment but want to leave me an emoji, leave me a fall themed emoji. What emoji to you represents fall? So, because we're getting into fall and I am super excited for scary season. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Bye!